Tēnā koutou katoa. Small disclaimer before I start. I feel like the only reason why I've got the privilege of being up here is because my manager in my day job is also the chair of the Māori Trust. So if you're getting bored halfway through, you think, why are we listening to this fella? Blame him, one. And two, just know I'm only up here for 15 minutes. So kia manua nui mai. I feel it's strategically placed, Friday. There's a method to the madness. We're just trying to just set the bar low. So the rest of the speakers, they just look even mickier. Ka pai? There's a method. But anyway, hei whenua, mimihi ka tika. Ki a koe, ki a koutou, nā koutou, I whakatau mai nei a tātou, o te rā i wāhi te tātanei rangi ki te wāhi ngaro, no reira tēnā koutou. Ki ngā iwi e waru, o te tau, o te waka o Māui. Koutou, e pupuri nei te Māori, o te whenua o ngā awa, o ngā moana. E whānga i tērā ahi kia kakā, ka ki ai tātou he mana whenua, tēnā koutou katoa. Ki ngā kai whakahaere, ngā kai whakarite, nā koutou tēnei wānanga i whakatū, hei wānanga manga, hei kai ma te hinga ro mā tātou, no reira tēnā koutou. O te rā ki a koutou katoa, e whakawhāti mai te noho. Koutou katoa, ni nā hau ngā piki me ngā heke i wānga nui i a tātou ngai Māori e tihi wā, ko te Taiao tēnā e tuitui nei i a tātou. Ko tō tātou nei herenga, kia whakamana, kia whakarauora i te Taiao, koia pia ko te mea nui. No reira, kia koutou e whakapau kahana, i roto i au wāhi, kia pērā ai, tēnā koutou a tihei mauri ora ki a tātou. Me whai wāhi a hau hoki, kia rātou mākua mate ākua poka noa, ki parihitini i roto i ngā wiki ko pahure. O te rā ngā mate hua katoa ki rungi a tātou. Rātou ki a rātou, a tātou ki a tātou, a tihau mauri ora tēnā koutou. Kia ora whānau, my name's Luke. The bro introduced me, so I'm not going to do it again, because I've got a tikanga to stick to. I feel like there's another tikanga though, it's about communication. I thought I had 20 minutes. So I'll do my best. Anyway, I'm here representing these fellas here. We do have wahine in our crew, honest. They're just better at hiding from the camera than the rest of the tāne are. They also mahi about 10 times harder than the fellas. Oh, what? And what we do is in the name, I reckon, Ngāti Toa, anything that's sort of related to it. Our hours, our whenua, our moana. If we don't do it, we want to do it. And we've got a few sort of projects set up to deliver on that mahi and to our obligation to Te Taiao. More importantly than the what, though, I reckon, is probably the why. This is going to be one of the slides that I basically skipped to save that 5 minutes, but because I feel like our why is not too indifferent from everybody else's, from ngā iwi organisations, huri noi o Aotearoa, who do this sort of mahi, whakapapa, he mokopuna taku iti, he tūpuna taku rahi, nā te ao re pewhairangi smarter than your average iwi, those Ngāti Parau. That obligation to uphold the mana of our tūpuna, of those atua Māori, some of which we descend, and also to be able to hand on heart say that we did our best. For our uri whakaheke, those who we're going to be passing the reins on to. As well as the connection to whenua moana. To be honest, I'm a little bit over a lot of the mana for the whakahaere, the management of our tūtohu whenua being with our treaty partners. And one of our big aims, I think, is to start to work with them to transfer the reins, I think. Work with them to devolve resource, devolve some power, so that we're working actively with them to either do it in partnership with the ultimate aim of giving that mahi back to us. There's a lot of mautere, our maunga, which are being managed by regional councils, central crown agencies for a long time. And it just makes sense that it's with us, I feel. So that's one of our big aims, is we're building capacity to be able to do this sort of mahi as well. And that helps with that tēnei mea te ahi ka. So that's one of our long-term drivers. The other long-term driver, I think, is we want to be able to return like a staple part of our people's diet to traditional mahinga kai. who's the chair of big up there fella, Tommy Malcolm, Te Papa Atawhai. He made the same statement. And we're working to sort of do that at a local level within our own rohe. There's, I couldn't probably say how little rangatahi these days know how to do, what were simple things back in the day, the traditional practices that our tupuna used to sustain themselves. Simple things like being able to pawhara a tuna, ko ahua, ko ngaro haere. It's becoming more and more rare to be able to do those sorts of things. So we were trying to figure out how we can maintain those practices, but how we can do it sustainably, so that we're looking after upholding our obligations to Te Taiao at the same time. So that's that challenge, that balancing act that we're sort of trying to strike with the mahi that we do. If you're looking at this and you're thinking, bro, this is a harbour, this is a freshwater fisheries conference, what are you up to? Then fair reflection. But I'll make it make sense, because a lot of the work it's driven by the harbour. I honestly can't understate the significance, the cultural significance of Te Ahurea Taiao to Ngāti Toa, particularly Ngāti Toa in the north. It's the means by which we measure our own health. It was one of the primary reasons why when Ngāti Toa negotiated our exit, it was a negotiated exit out of Kawhia in the 1800s. It was one of the key reasons why we chose Puriru as a home base. Had the highest density of cockles, its ability to whāngai us as a people, highest density of cockles of any harbour in Aotearoa. If you know Te Whanganui Atara, you know the diving's meke. Multiple streams, abundance of streams that feed the harbour. So it's a bit of a wonderland. Fast forward to today, e me pēnei te kōrero, ko tata mate, ko māwiwi rawa, tō tātene awarua. It is said that it's on the brink of ecological collapse. We can't swim on it, we can't harvest from it without risk of being sick. And not only that, is we're losing it at a super alarming rate. Te Ahurea Taiao, the latest reports show that it's getting about 70,000 tonnes of sediment into the harbour every year, and that's increasing at about a centimetre a year. So for a harbour that's 65% less than a metre deep, that's particularly worrying. I mean, when you do the maths, we're talking about 2 lifetimes essentially before we've lost our harbour. And for a harbour that's integral to our identity as Ngāti Toa, when that whakatauki ko te awa ko, we as Ngāti Toa from the north think of Te Ahurea Taiao. So that's what we're trying to avoid, and it's what drives our freshwater mahi. So what are we doing about it? Te ara whakaama, that doesn't look like we're doing much. But this is what we're doing about it in the freshwater space. The harbour, for us, really is just an indicator of the health of the streams that feed into it, the awa that feed into it. The streams themselves, the awa themselves, are an indicator of the wider land use that surrounds Te Ahurea Taiao. So we've set up three projects strategically. It wasn't so strategic, but it's worked out that way, and I'm going to claim it that way, to help to deal with this issue. We've got, okay, I'm not good at using this thing, but we've got essentially what we're trying to do is how do we increase the quality of the wai of the streams that's feeding the harbour? How do we increase the abundance of the taonga species that call those streams home? And how do we measure our success? So we've set up 3 projects. Some of them we lead ourselves, some of them we work in partnership with our treaty partners to be able to deliver. And partnership's a key word for us, I think, because anybody who's willing to work in our waka to help us achieve our end goal, we'll work with, and to whatever varying capacity. We're conscious that we can't do this by ourselves and we need to do it in partnership. We only have so much capacity. And so regardless of how hoha some of them are, local council especially, and I feel like, yeah, local council, man, we're going to do our best, So the first project that we've set up is about fish passage remediation and assessment. So we put a project together with regional council. We've got 2 kaimanaki awa, whose job is to work to assess structures or barriers in streams and remediate them. Pōrero Harbour, if we go back a few slides, is largely impacted, as you can see in the picture on the right, by urbanisation, a mix of urbanisation, forestry and farming. And like our whanaunga Te Taiao would attest to, the management policies in and around forestry management, anywhere up to bar, out to scratch. We've seen that at a smaller scale. So we've seen straightening of our streams, we've seen the inserts of culverts. So we've got two kaimahi whose idea is whose mahi is to walk up all of our streams, to remove the barriers, inserting ramps, baffles, rope, so that our ika can access the stream. And we're trying to do that as strategically as possible. There's no point in really adding a barrier downstream, upstream, sorry, if there's a barrier downstream and the ika can't even get up the thing in the first place. So we're working from the bottom catchment up to do our best to allow those ika to get into those streams, to breed, to feed, to do their thing. And that has flow-on effects to us as tangata, particularly Ngāti Toa, being able to harvest the kai, the tuna, that rely on those smaller ika as a food source. So that's that project. We've actually got one of our kaimanaki awa in here with us at the moment. Big capacity building. We had no idea what we were doing when we put the project together, but we thought we were keen as we needed to. We realised that there was a need, and that was the way we were going to be able to best deliver on that whāinga of ours. The second project that we've set up in partnership with local council, this is a big ticket in terms of increasing the quality of our wai. It's a 20-year project, relatively ambitious, 6 million trees, 588 kilometres of stream riparian strips that are going to be planted in order to stop the flow of sediment. 70,000 tonnes. 70,000 tonnes roughly equates to around 2,100 truck and trailers of sediment. How many is that a day? Heaps, just being dumped into our awa. So we've realised that we need to stop that slow of sediment, and we need to stop the flow of nutrients as well, nitrogen in particular. It's destroying the habitats that allow our species to call Pōrero Harbour home. So it's just further contributing to the problem. So this is one of those big ticket items. It's been great in terms of community outreach, setting up planting days. The crew have been putting plants in along our margins to be able to protect our awa, and it works in with the fish passage remediation project in the sense that it's providing the habitat as well. So as we increase the ability for our ika to get up the streams, we're also putting in the habitat to allow them to do their thing, to be and breed and to mea. How's my time going? 1:46. The last one is Te Taiao. Te Taiao. This is a kaitaki monitoring framework that we've put together, and this is sort of helping us to achieve that goal of, if our end goal is we want our people to be able to return a staple part of their diet to traditional mahinga kai, we've got to be able to inform it somehow and turn it into tangible numbers so that we can use it as part of our measures. In terms of implementing lahui, setting up marine reserves, whatever it is, this is what's going to inform it. Putting pressure on our treaty partners that manage these areas, having that in a tangible form helps us to get that stuff over the line. Actually, when I was in Te Māori, the conference 2 years ago, it was the chair there who said two of the biggest, most important things were really good data and a damn good lawyer. So it's actually from that this was created, and to create that data, to take what we already know to be true, and to put it in a format where we can follow it. Because what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to harvest, but we want to be able to make sure that we can do it sustainably, that we're upholding our principles and our values and our obligations to Te Taiao. Because if we don't do that, then what are we doing? And it also just keeps that practice going. It keeps it alive. It keeps us connected, and our people have a better sense of where we're going. Ultimately, this is sort of what we want it to look like. Shout out Auckland Council and the Safe website. But essentially what we're sort of thinking is we'd love to be able to have, mahinga kai along the left, a bit of a state of health, some tikanga around how we should and shouldn't sustain it, so should harvest it. You know, what's sustainable in terms of harvesting. Some tikanga associated to the site at whatever level our tohunga are deemed to be appropriate, and having this available to our people to start to inform those practices, so that they can start to form the framework, and that we can then go and put pressure on the managers of our Taiao to say this is what needs to happen and needs to happen now. Informs the people who work in our environment, our legislation and policy space, so that we're connecting our two units, operations, and our policy people, to make sure that the legislation is fit for purpose. I'm not a legislation purpose, I'm more of a mahi man, but yeah, I acknowledge that they sort of connect. And last, yeah, and that's it. It's a holistic approach for us. We can't, none of these things, they all work in together. We can't look after the streams without looking the wider whenua, so that's how we got to do things. We don't have the privilege of sort of being a government agency and saying, here, you fellas have a portfolio and heaps of resource. You can just focus on this thing and go hard and do it. We've got our obligations are wide and varied, albeit within our own rohe, and we're just doing our best that we can to uphold our obligation to all facets of that, all facets of the Taiao, all of our Toa Māori. Morera, yeah. All right. So that's me. Sorry, bro, I was 2 minutes over. So yeah, that's us. Tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.